Scringe. So let me get going again. We'll reconvene the meeting. Hope everyone had a good lunch. We're back to agenda item number 11 and updates and discussion on the California Doctor of Chiropractic programs. And we have with us Dr. Donaldson, the Provost of Life Chiropractic College West, and he will provide us an update on Life West. And then we have Dr. Scaringe, the President and CEO of Southern California University of Health Sciences, to also provide us an update. And I don't know how they chose the order, but I think we have Dr. Donaldson, who is going to go first. But I want to thank you both in advance for being here, and we appreciate hearing an update and being able to ask any questions or discuss anything that may come out of that. So thank you very much, and I will turn the floor over to Dr. Donaldson.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, we can.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Scringe, for that. So I'm not sure how long you want me to take. I'll briefly update you on some things that are happening here at Life West. We have a thing called Life West Advantage Package right now. That is what we call our clinically inspired learning program. It is the brainchild of Dr. Oberstein several years ago that we've been implementing over time. And it essentially takes the whole clinical aspect of their learning and stretches it all the way back to first quarter, so that the day one they're in the clinic, they're in the program, they're starting to learn about the clinical aspects slowly at first. And they spend 8 quarters or 2 years in that part of the program until they finish that 8th quarter when they go into their internship. And then, of course, there's the internship part of that, which is very important. And the other 2 parts of that have been also built up really since COVID. COVID put us in an interesting situations, I'm sure all aware. One of those is what we call a preceptor program. Not that it has been going for a long time, it has, but we utilized the preceptor program during COVID to really help us out. Thin out the capacity here in the health center, spread our population of both interns and patients and so forth across offices. And it turned out to be something we were planning, but it turned out to be something that was really great for us in the long term. The preceptors opportunities now, we probably have 70 to 80% of our final 2 quarters of students on preceptorship and are looking to expand that even further. The service trip part of what we do has also been very important to the growth of our interns. We, again, started that pre-COVID and to expand that post-COVID. That COVID had the opposite effect on that one. We had to stop doing that altogether during COVID, of course, because the majority of that was international service trips and we couldn't leave the country. But those are back up and running and doing very well right now. It was interesting. The thing that COVID gave us the opportunity to do was look at our students pre-COVID, during COVID and post-COVID that participated in those trips. And what we saw even pre-COVID was an increase in their confidence in their own skills. You know, that we often graduate students who are more competent than they are confident, right? And so we don't want to have that confidence be not appropriate to their skills, but nonetheless, that is true by and large for most of our students. So we saw that increasing because of the use of these service trips and the opportunity it gave our students. And then during COVID, we saw that wane back down a little bit, and then it's coming back up again now. So it is proving to be a very valuable tool for our students. One that a WASC accreditor actually recently recognized as something that was very valuable to our students, and they want us to continue to do that and to report on it. And I'm not sure how in depth you want me to go in any of those things or how far you want me to go, but those are kind of the main things we're doing right now. We're focused on right now. Also, continue on our programs here at Life West and building them up. So I guess I could open up to questions, or if you have anything beyond that you need from me.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we just open forum, and anything that you think would be of value or you'd like to just get out to the board. So thank you for that.
Yep.
And let me open it to the board for any questions, comments.
Good afternoon, Dr. Donaldson. Could I go ahead, Dave? Dr. Paris?
Please.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. It's been a while.
Thank you. You're this big, so I can't really see that well. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I made you big on my screen so I could see it because it's been a while. I had a quick question. Could you give any clarification or information on your the potential for the Nebraska campus that you guys we've kind of heard
Yeah.
discussed? I'd like to kind of hear from the horse's mouth rather than hearing what I'm hearing out and about.
Oh, what are you hearing out about? That's interesting because we look at that as what we call an additional educational site, right? It's a it's not a branch campus; it's an extension of where we are here. It's in Nebraska at Bellevue University. We started in the fall. We did kick off our first quarter. We had a whopping 6 students there. And in the winter, we entered in 17 more students. The difference will really be at Nebraska. It's meant to be a smaller focus school, right? So we will not take in a spring or a summer quarter. We're only going to take in fall and winter each year. So we got those 2 cohorts going through. They're smaller size, but they're going through the same program that we're going through, and we're building it as we go there because we've only got quarters 1 and 2 right now. It's a beautiful campus. Anybody's got a chance to go look at it, please, come on out and take a look at it. But right now, we just started our second quarter there. We finished our first quarter. 100% of our first quarter passed. If I can say
Nice.
about those 6 students, and we're looking forward to those great kinds of, it's something to say, but with 6 students, who knows? It will be interesting over time, though, to see how does that small campus environment with the same program compare to this one. I don't know that, Dr. Adams, what that's going to come out like. I've got my own assumptions about that. Those 6 students, why do they all pass, and that kind of thing. Maybe we got the greatest 6 on earth. Maybe they got good individualized attention from their faculty. I think that's a little more true in this case. But it is a good program. We're working towards 2 years out having CC come out and visit us there. WASC is going to come in the next month or 2 to just kind of check on it. But it is going well. Anything else? What are you hearing out there, or that you want to?
Yeah. So as far as the intent for Life West is to be in California indefinitely.
Yes, we'll always be here in California. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you going to be at the same location, or could that possibly change?
No, that will actually change. The location will change. If you've been to our site here, it's a great site as far as the campus itself goes, compared to what we used to have, especially, right, 22 years ago. It's a great site, and we're all in one location and so forth. But we are going to move from this site to another place in the area because we're in an increasingly industrialized area, right? It's not true now, but within the next few years, Industrial Boulevard right out my window here, we'll see upwards of 45 trucks per half hour. Why they said 45 per half hour instead of 90 per hour, I don't know, but that's what's estimated to happen over the next couple of years. It's not happening right now, but it's not it's a reality, and it's not something that we see as a place where we want to be with all those trucks driving around and that kind of thing. So we'll be in Northern California somewhere. We're actually looking for different locations right now. We've got the benefit of owning this building. So it's got some good funds associated with that we can move to another location. But we'll be in we will remain here in Northern California. I don't know what that means with AESs and what other sites we might open, but there will be a Northern California presence here for sure.
Wow, great. Well, that's good news. Thanks for the update.
Yep. And maybe what you heard was we were moving to Nebraska. That's not true. That's a separate site.
No, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. But,
I've heard that. Oh, you guys are moving to Nebraska? No, we're not.
Yeah, that's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for the update. It's great to see you, and appreciate all that you do with Life West.
Thank you for that, Dr. Adams. Are there any more questions, discussion, comments from any of the board members?
Hi, Dr. Donaldson. It's Pamela Daniels.
Hi.
Hey, I had a question. I was wondering how your preceptor program, whether before COVID, during COVID, or now, how that affects or doesn't affect sort of your students and their meeting their clinical requirements. Is there any relationship to that, and how is that going?
Yeah, so it doesn't really affect their meeting their clinical requirements so much. It's where they do them, right? So we've got the clinical requirements that are stated by the state of California clinical requirements, the quantitative requirements. Then we've got the CCE competency-based requirements. They have to do all of that, okay? And they've got a certain number of adjustments they can do in preceptor, but they can't do those number of adjustments in preceptor if they haven't, for example, met the CCE competency-based requirements here on site first, okay? So they've got to do both those things. And then they can go out, if they've done that, they can go out in the field. I'll just use adjustments as an example because there's so many different competency-based requirements that they've got to achieve, but they have to achieve them all here on campus before they go out on preceptor. And then the preceptor site is looked at as an extension of our own clinic, right, which it always has been, right? It's never been something other than that. And then the students would go there and get a little more experience in an actual office somewhere. Often students will opt for doing a couple of different preceptors to get examples of different kinds of styles of practicing and those kinds of things before they graduate. But again, not until they've met the competency-based requirements and X number of all the California quantitative requirements. The only quantitative requirements they can get outside of our own clinic here, though, are the adjustments themselves, really. So, and we've got states where I think Colorado, for example, is just now transitioning over, but until recently, Colorado did not allow adjusting by preceptors in their office, right? So if you wanted to go to Colorado, you had to finish everything here first, and then you could go to Colorado. And we had a few people that opted for that kind of thing. But I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And do you find that like it helps with their confidence? Because you had mentioned that on those service trips as well.
Yeah, we survey every quarter our preceptor interns. It does help with their confidence and their competence, actually, because we survey them and the doctors, both incoming, the beginning of the quarter, the end of the quarter. You know, how did they see that intern grow and progress? So it's not just we can ask the intern about their own confidence, but not their competence, right? You know, they don't understand that that's a more of an external kind of a rater. So we'll ask the doctor about that, and we get some good feedback on that as well. Honestly, with as many preceptorships as we're running, we've had a few offices we've had to exclude because we don't get good feedback, because we don't get the first quarter we did this in COVID, we had a doctor that said they would allow to adjust and didn't. The poor intern, you know, nothing at the end of the quarter. So it's only been a couple of those kinds of situations, but by and large, we get good information back from the doctors on both of those categories. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. I see Dr. Sandino's hand raised. And I think she may have dropped off. I'm not sure. We'll check on that. But she did have her hand raised, so we can circle back to that. Let's for now. Let me keep moving forward and hearing no other questions.
Yep.
For Dr. Donaldson. Okay. Well, Dr. Scaringe, President CEO of Southern California University of Health Sciences. Thank you. Thank you for also being here. And let you take the floor and give us an update.
Thank you for this opportunity to address you today. I appreciate it. I am speaking to you from my car in the airport parking lot, um, in the back seat with my iPad wedged between my two front seats here. So I figured it would have been better acoustics here in my car than in an airport lobby somewhere. So thank you for your patience with me here. My name is John Scaringe. I have been serving as president now for about 15 years. I've started at LACC here at SCU 33 years ago as faculty. So um, I love the institution and I can talk forever for it. So you're going to have to interrupt me if I go off track here. But SCU is a thriving and growing institution among many colleges and universities that are, you know, struggling out there, where they're actually decreasing in size. And unlike, um, Life West, um, um, Dr. Donaldson is in a single focused institution with a single program. We've been growing with other programs at the institution here. So we've doubled overall our enrollment and revenues over the last 5 years, actually more than that. And that includes the growth of our flagship chiropractic program at the Los Angeles College of Chiropractic. We're probably around 700 students or so. We just sat our spring class, so I don't know where we landed. We might be around 55 entering students there. We had over about 100 in the fall, new students, and then summer we usually get around 30, 35 is usually the enrollments that come in there. Um, we we have strong retention, graduation rates, high national, board exam scores. So the quality is still high, even though we've had the growth, and that's with all our programs. Um, so we're really looking to lead the way in health science university, grounded in integrated whole health care and education. That's our focus and vision. Currently, we offer three doctoral degree programs: our Doctor of Chiropractic, our acupuncture, and Chinese herbal medicine, and then we also have a Doctor in Occupational Therapy program. Four master's degrees, a BS, a Bachelor's of Science in Health Sciences with 7 concentrations. Five certificates, including 2 in Ayurvedic medicine, 4 clinical chiropractic residencies, um, and we also are the academic affiliate for the Greater LA VA and Loma Linda VA for the chiropractic residency programs within the Veterans Administration. We will be launching 3 new programs next year in 24-25. So our budget year starts September 1. So in the fall, we'll see a doctor in whole health leadership program. We also have a doctor in medical science launching. And then in the fall of 2025, we'll see a master's in genetic counseling that will be launching. In 25-26, shortly after next year, we'll be seeing our doctorate in physical therapy here in Whittier, our doctor in data science, and also a doctorate of occupational therapy in Arizona. And then in 2027, we're setting up our doctor of PT in Arizona. And then beyond that will be masters in speech language pathology. All of those programs are in the queue except for the speech and language pathology program. Our nursing program that we went to start here in California, we ran into some issues where it doesn't look like the Board of Nursing is really approving new schools. So we've taken a step back to look at if we'll just start with a doctorate nurse practitioner rather than the entry level bachelor's completion program in nursing, which we originally were going to start. As far as LACC is concerned, like I said, we've grown over the last 5 years. We have opened up two 3 new clinics one in the summer in Tustin. We opened 2 now over it with the sheriff's department. We have a really strong relationship with our tactical sports medicine within the sheriff's department. So right now we'll have 2 sites, and we're looking for the third hopefully this year. There's a lot of red tape we continue to go through with the sheriff's department there. Um, the research uh, is still being productive. We're a small and mighty research department. Some of those studies and research papers are being quoted, especially when we're looking at the opioid epidemic and chiropractic care within that with James Wheaton's work. And just so that you know, we also have some flexibility in our program where we do have concentrations for the students in the DC program. So we have the sports medicine concentration where they can choose the coursework to bring them through that track without any extra money for tuition. It's built in. Functional medicine is another track. Nutrition is another track, and chiropractic technique and therapies is another track that they can concentrate on as well within in our curriculum. The reason why I know that this is obviously concentrating on the chiropractic program. The reason why I wanted to give an overview of the whole institution with the types of programs that we're launching. We're seeing trends in healthcare education where they're looking at shorter programs with concentrated or maybe limited residencies. To give you an example, our Doctor of Occupational Therapy program, we have 15-week terms. Um, so the first 12 weeks, they're entirely online, both um, um, live and then uh, with their hands on, it's concentrated in 3 weeks. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th week, they're back on campus to do all their hands on, then they're back into online education. Our PT program that we have in the queue that will be launching in 2025 will be the same model. I just did a site visit for a regional accreditor or an institutional accreditor that had a dental school, and they chopped off a whole year in their particular program. And so we're seeing accrediting bodies being open because they're looking at the outputs. They're looking at what are the outcomes when they graduate and are they meeting those particular competencies before their graduation. Um, so I say this because I understand that Dr. Daniels and her committee is looking at some of the regulations here in California, and I urge the board to focus, I think, more on the outcomes of what we're looking for in our chiropractic education rather than some of the inputs coming up front. And it's something that I think will help us as institutions to appropriately focus on student learning outcomes and competencies, giving us the flexibility to be competitive, but also move in with the trends that we're seeing in other healthcare educational programs. So I, again, would love to answer any questions you might have. Again, I appreciate this opportunity to appear before you.
Thank you, Dr. Scaringe. Um, my I saved my question, and I was going to ask it of both of you, but we had, as you may know, we had Dr. Little on from CCE earlier in our meeting, and he went over a lot of the proposed changes to the standards. Um,
Okay.
and so I think my question to both of you would be, is there just your general sense of the changes that have been proposed to standards? And it sounds like most of those you might positively support based on what I just heard. But we'd like to hear it from you. And then also, is there anything in there that concerns you as leadership at the colleges.
Dr.
It's to
Go
both
ahead.
You
of
want
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Scringe. I'll follow up.
Donaldson? You what? Go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. Yeah, we're of course aware of the changes, but I haven't seen the final version yet. Whatever you guys saw today is probably the most recent one. Last time I saw them, anyways, and I'm not quite as far of the food chain there as Dr. Scringe, but would have been last year at ACC RAC. The CC did present to us what they were working on at the time. We've had some input at the meeting in the meantime. So yeah, yes, I'm looking forward to those changes myself. I think, as Dr. Scringe has said, that if we look at what we're outputting as opposed to just what we give them, how many hours we give them of what, does challenge with the California regulations. It's good to know that's being worked on. We've worked on those for years and years and years and looked at those over and over again. But so one, yes, I support what the CC is doing as far as outcomes-based learning. I really do. They took a step there a number of years ago with their competencies and meta competencies, but that's exciting to know. I don't know where they landed on the prereqs yet. It looks like they were looking to go somewhere there. I don't think it's a huge leap from where they are right now, the prereqs to get into chiropractic college. More of more of a combining of what they were doing in the AATP range and the standard range, and then providing assistance for everyone that needs it and shows a demonstrated need for it. But yes, I do support what they're looking at in those competency-based outcomes, what you would have probably seen today from Dr. Little.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Donaldson. To answer your question, Dr. Harris, yeah, we would support the CCE changes as well. With without taking too much more of your time, I want to be, um, sensitive to that. But I have quite a bit of extensive background in accreditation. I've been, not only on accreditation teams, but, chairing teams from not just the professional side for chiropractic, acupuncture, but also on our institutional regionals. I chair teams for WASC. I've been a commissioner for CCE for 9 years in the past. I've been 2 terms and 6 years with the Northwest Commission, which is the equivalent to WASC Commission. And I do site teams for both the Northwest Commission and WASC and chair those teams. So what you see within higher ed and higher ed accreditation is really looking at those student learning outcomes, looking at the outputs of not so much about the inputs that are coming, that you're taking X amount of hours within in the classroom, or even prerequisite types of things. So it's really the institution's responsibility, and it's a huge responsibility for the institutions to prepare that student to be at the highest level of competency for a graduate. And it's up to that institution to do what's best for their students through their curriculum, their student support system, and in our case, to have them pass those national boards and license requirements, moving forward. So I do support the direction that the CC is going in, as well as what we're seeing in most accrediting bodies overseeing academic institutions.
Mhm.
Thank you. I really appreciate both of your willingness to. I didn't know if that was a tough question or not, and so I didn't mean to put anyone on the spot with something they may not have reviewed or not been fully vetted out, through the college. So
I don't
Yeah.
think fully
I
vetted, but
appreciate that.
I don't think it was a tough question at all.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Let me open it back up to the board here, and see if there's any other questions from the board. Dr. Daniels?
Yeah, it was sort of a question for both of you. I was just wondering your sort of perception of the landscape of the students that are entering into the chiropractic program. Are you seeing particular trends, particular cohorts? What's your feel as far as their educational background, their social background? Just are there any general, trends or anything like that that you guys can share with us?
You go first this time, John.
Sure, I'd be happy to. One of the as far as social, economic, ethnic, diversity type of background, we 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 have a very diverse student population, probably more of because of our location, and we are taking, a lot of efforts to get into underserved areas, not just for treatment, but also to try to work with um, the student, recruitment population as well. So diversity is very strong for us because our university is really looking at a diverse model of team-based care between, many different diverse healthcare professionals working together. The diverse population of our students and our staff and faculty is another, line within that team-based care. Incoming, you know, G, GPA, I mean, we're seeing, above 3.0 on average with everybody. As far as science credits, we exceeded even the current CCE requirements. We for incoming science credits of our student population. In fact, I think most of our colleges do exceed some of the um, admissions requirements when it comes to the basic, or even expanding that into life sciences, right? Um, if you expand into life sciences, we're looking at, 42, 45, life science credits coming in. So we're seeing a population of students who are excited about coming into chiropractic. As you know, the market for chiropractic nationally has basically been flat for over 25 years, probably going on 30 years now, as far as total students in and the new students that come in. It may vary a percent or two up and a percent or two down from year to year. Some more competition is coming in. So what you're seeing is our institutions looking for new markets to educate them about the careers in chiropractic. And you're seeing more institutions trying to take a larger piece of that market that's out there that's been flat with that. So we haven't seen any drop in our chiropractic enrollment based on the other professions that we've brought in, like the physician's assistant or the occupational therapy. I don't anticipate that coming with the physical therapy program, but we haven't launched that yet to see if that affects our chiropractic population at all as far as student interest. I don't know if I answered your question.
Uh, yeah, you did. I mean, just to follow up a little bit further. So what are the conversations at your college as far as how to get into those lower socioeconomic areas and marginalized communities, given that, as I said earlier, 40% of the US does not have a BA or a BS. People tend to, or the hope is that those cohorts from those areas go back to that area to serve their community. That getting a BA or a BS is very expensive, and there's discussion in the literature on community colleges. Their students actually doing very well because they've had to overcome challenges of discrimination or financial issues. The conversation of the science identity just in relation to being more successful as a physician versus someone who just has a Bachelor of Arts. So, anything that you guys are talking about as far as how to get to those communities.
Well, I think all our programs are trying to get into those communities. In fact, our programs for nursing was actually developed around getting into those communities. Specifically for chiropractic, we do a lot of outreach into those areas for years now. So where we have that identity to try to help. As far as um, you know, trying for pathways, and that's the key. What we're talking about here, pathways into those areas. We like for the bachelor's completion program that we have, we don't do the general ed. So when we look at partners with community colleges, right, to move into a an independent nonprofit institution, what tends to happen, not with us, but what tends to happen is these students are in community colleges that they, obviously can afford, and they're looking to get into the publics, right? Because then they can afford to continue into their um, uh, um, bachelor's degree at a Cal State institution, right? Where if they're going to a um, um, non-public, nonprofit, independent institution, those tuitions are outrageous, right? So even though they have these, the independent colleges have these pathways, the students don't go there because they're trying to get into and not pay that. Our bachelor's completion program is pretty competitive as far as the cost is concerned. We got a low ROI on that one, so that we are trying with the um, uh, uh, agreements that we have with community college or even other individuals coming in with the right amount of uh, general ed credits to come in. We also, one of the things that you'll find is that our doctoral first professional degree programs, they tend to be right around what we're doing in the publics as much as the independents. So as a graduate first professional degree institution, the competitiveness of the other doctoral programs, tuition, we're not that far off because they do, charge quite a bit, even in those undergraduate state institutions. So it is an issue, trying to get into those communities, looking for partners to help. We're not where we'd like to be, but those are the type of conversations we're having. And one of the things that we at least tried to do was to be competitive with that bachelor's completion program, so that we can attract some of those in the community college and some of the lower income
Yep.
areas.
If I could add that, I agree with what Dr. Scridge is saying there for sure. In the Bay Area here, for example, we're 15 to 20% African American. And then you go from there to the Asians, into the Hispanic populations and so forth. So a number of years ago, while I was doing my doctorate degree, I actually did a focus on this, because we're still not quite there with those numbers, because right here from where we sit, we should be 15% African American, all things being equal, and we're not even close to that. But neither are any of the other programs around us. And some of the research that's been done years ago, going back into the 70s and so forth, is that population doesn't trust anybody with that doctor kind of mentality. You'll see nursing having really, really championed and really, really conquered this arena around the diversity issue, right? But everybody with a doctoral level education has not done it as well. And so part of that is getting to the students, for one, which means, as Dr. Scringe mentioned, you've got to get into the community colleges because that's where they start. People cannot afford to go directly into a 4-year, even a Cal State or something like that. So we've got to be into those places. But also, I think you mentioned this also, John, clinics and offering them care, because no one's going to become a chiropractor, for an example, if you've never been to one. Honestly, a few people will go online and do your digital marketing and go, oh, that's something I'm looking for, but not out of that population. So we've opened clinics in Oakland. We're in Hayward, and we're a stone's throw from Oakland, but it's, as far as the kids are concerned, it's really far away. So we go open clinics in Oakland and places like that where we can get in there and actually provide care. So that as we go through time, those kids will have been exposed to chiropractic, and hopefully, and obviously, so someone will want to become them. So there's a couple of things we've got to do. We're not going to solve this one today or tomorrow. It's going to be an overtime issue, right? That we get better and better at. 10 years ago or so, we were probably 2 or 3% African American on this campus. We're more like 6 or 8% now. So we're gradually tackling that particular one challenge. One of the other things you talked about, though, was the social aspect of our students. And one of the things we noticed, the students we're bringing in right now, as they come into campus through COVID, we did a couple things. Obviously, COVID had a huge effect on us here in California. And I think California, well, the West Coast and the East Coast more than the middle of the country, where they went back to campus quicker. We were out for a little longer than them, but also we changed the generational population that we bring in during that time. So, to say that something is an effect of COVID, because all of our students, even though we've been out of this for a little while, they went through their undergraduate either partially or entirely remotely, and now they're being thrown into many classrooms. Another reason we're happy to see what the CC is doing. But nonetheless, that was an issue. So is it that, or is it the generation, or what is it? Ultimately come down to, it doesn't matter so much. We've got these students we have to accommodate. We're seeing about 3 times the accommodated students that we did pre-COVID. Now they come in with great GPAs, as John talked about. We're still seeing those higher GPAs and so forth, but they have these accommodations that we've got to deal with. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is these students are accommodated. They've got various different things they've got to be accommodated for, and whether it's in testing or otherwise, that they're going to have to continue to either be accommodated for or accept as part of their life when they get out of here, right? It's something that it's going to be a reality for them. And so we're dealing with that on the social level. And it does stretch out to other parts of campus as well. Those students that bring with them their social issues, it does kind of get to the rest of the population, not in a bad way, but in a way we're learning to deal with. And so there's an interesting social issue there with this generation of students. They're great, by the way. We love them. They're younger than they've ever been. Is that part of the issue? I don't think that's part of the issue. I think it's something else that's there. Is it that it's more awareness? I don't know. So, but that is something we're dealing with and constantly dealing with.
Well, thank you both. I could sit and chat with you all day, but I'll end there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Are there any more questions, comments from the board members? Okay. Well, hearing none, I'd just like to really thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedules. Really happy to hear about the program's successes and the progress you're all making. And thank you for continuing to move education forward in California. This information is really important and valuable to us, as a board, for our staff and our stakeholders, and it really is helpful in furthering our discussions and our deliberations. So, very, very grateful to both of you for being here, and thank you very much. And if you have anything closing you'd like to say, I would give you all the time that you would desire.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I was thrilled to get the invite. And we're we're always here as a resource. We're here, to answer any of your questions. And we appreciate the relationship that we've had over the years. We appreciate the progressiveness of this board looking at the issues to, improve, the safety of the communities that we serve here in California. So, to take on these regulations and to, ask about, continuing education and really, really take the effort to understand these things. Kudos to you all. So thank you again for this opportunity.
And let me just echo what John said. I just want to thank you as well. It was a bit of a kind of not last minute. We got down right to the last minute before I could accept this the other day. So I do appreciate taking the time and having this opportunity to meet with you today as well. And I want to thank you guys for the work and effort you do. 100% volunteer. Dr. Scringe and I get paid to do our jobs, right? So thank you for your efforts on behalf of California and our students as well.
Appreciate all
Thank
of
you.
that, and maybe in the future we can make this at least an annual update and
Yeah.
discussion between
That
the
would be
board
great.
and the colleges. So thank you very much, and have a great day. Safe travels.
Thank you
Dr.
both.
Scringe.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Dr. Paris, did you want to take public comment?
Yeah, I was gonna do that next. I was gonna go to
Oh.
public comment.
Thank you. So we have opened up for public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment on the presentations, you may look for the hand raise icon, or you may look for the question mark icon. Click that, type the word comment into the text box and hit send. And we will take one comment per agenda item, and we will limit each person to 3 minutes with a 15-second warning. We do have a comment request from a call-in user, and I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone by pressing *6. And you are unmuted.
Thank you. So this is a Falcon student at Life Plus. Like to applaud Dr. Strange and Dr. Donaldson and the BC and everyone involved, including Christian Walker and staff, for the efforts in chiropractic for California. I do want to make note. I have been mentioning it often at these meetings, and probably a wonderful opportunity since everyone's at this meeting to mention again. It's not necessarily about me, but about a doctor's work. It's just if a doctor makes a mark in the clinic dynamic, then it should be represented, and potentially some work has been mislabeled in effect to erase the doctor's work, and it's not just doctor's work, doctor tiered doctor's work. It would be nice if like a correction would be made to a particular process, and if corrected, it would really open up a reservoir of to make all students aware of the correction of some of the doctor's work, because right now it's left erased as if the doctor didn't work, and I think it's a significant edit that should be considered for as long as it might need to fully process it. I just would hope that it would be addressed to clarify things. But I think the potential of it, the communication of the correction to the profession would really alter the landscape for the benefit of for all of healthcare and the public that it supports. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, and appreciate those, and happy that you're participating. But just a reminder that the board may not discuss or take action on a matter raised during the public comment section that's not included on the agenda. So appreciate that. Thank you.
And I do not see any other online public comments. Are there any public comments from our in-person locations? No? All right. Shall I close the public comment feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And okay, well, one final thank you to our college dignitaries and guests today. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And we'll move forward in our agenda. Thank you again, Dr. Donaldson, Dr. Scaringe. Appreciate that. And
This is Sabina. Sorry. I think there we go. We missed item number 16. Thank you.
yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
Let me get there. Okay. This is the most ping-ponging we've done in the agenda for a while, but it feels good to be flexible. So that's nice. Okay, so agenda item 16, future agenda items. Let me first open this item for discussion by the board. Any future agenda items? No? Okay. I'm sorry, did I hear something?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I mean, I don't have any. I feel like kind of there's a lot of future agenda in each subcommittee that's coming back around. So that's all I was gonna say.
A lot of work to be done. Yes, I would agree with that. I do have a couple things I would like the board and staff to consider as future agenda items, maybe for appropriate committee. One is I've had a lot of stakeholder outreach or discussion regarding some clarity around animal chiropractic and the current regulations, et cetera. And I'm hoping that we might consider putting that on an upcoming committee agenda. I think it's best placed perhaps with the licensing committee. And so that would be number one, and at least engage in the discussions there, and maybe get our stakeholders on and they can delineate out any issues that they're having with the current state of that. The second thing is I hope we might consider putting the actual clarifying or considering to clarify the manipulation technique at a CE event, and being able to actually have licensees be hands-on without fear of violating a regulation, and treating somebody at a CE event. And not to get too into the weeds about how we may do that at this stage, but I think that clarity would be helpful for a lot of our continuing education providers, a lot of the instructors that are maybe California licensees, maybe not, and then also for the licensees present who seem to desire to be able to actually functionally perform some of these techniques that they're learning. So I think there might be some clarity we might provide around that. And I think that's it. That's all I have for now. Anything else from the board members? Okay. Moderator, can we please open agenda item 16, future agenda items for public comment?
Certainly. If anyone, is there anyone in person at any of our in-person locations who has comments on future agenda items? No. All right, thank you. If anyone logged into WebEx would like to make a suggestion of a future agenda item, you may look for the hand icon, click that to raise your hand. You may look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment and click send. Each speaker will have 3 minutes with a 15-second warning. Are there any suggestions for future agenda items? I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close that feature? Are we good to close public comment?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I
You're
do it
welcome.
at least once a call. I have to be on mute. When I'm,
That's all right. I know the feeling.
okay. Moving to agenda item 17. The schedule had us taking a break, and so I think we're going to do that again. We'll take a 15-minute break. We'll return into closed session. And the first part of closed session, we'll have our executive officer with us, and then beyond that, it will just be the staff and everyone else who, for the second two items listed, the TRAN case and the EO evaluation. So let's come back at 2:32. And we'll be in closed session. And for members of the public on the call, when we return out of closed session, agenda item 18 will be adjournment. So we will move to agenda item 18 and adjournment out of closed session.